Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled The 7 Habits That Keep People Broke as F. And guys, this article, which I came across yesterday, is a pretty good one. And it goes over 7 different things that a lot of people that are in a bad situation financially do to keep themselves there. And a lot of these are very common sense things, but I thought it'd be very good to go over here. And there are things here I definitely agree with, and I'm going to add on to. And there's a couple of things that I agree with, but there's a condition to that agreement, which I'm going to get into. And this is more obviously along the lines of the self-improvement and success element of this channel. It's not the usual crazy stories and all that, but these are good things to go over from time to time, because a lot of guys watch this, I know, are really trying to improve themselves in their lives and one element financially. So for a lot of guys that maybe you're not where you want to be financially or find yourself trapped, this might be helpful and maybe shed some light on some things that maybe you're doing that's kind of holding yourself back. Because I don't want any of you guys to be in a bad situation financially. I want you guys to be doing things to climb out of a bad situation. We can all get in bad situations, but we got to find a way to get out of them. So I thought it'd be a good one here to go over. Not too long, but it's a good one. Starts off, says, recently I had a talk with a friend of mine who we'll call Jesse. Jesse is a waiter at an upscale restaurant. He makes decent money, enough to support himself and his wife. However, he openly admits he hates his job a lot. I don't blame him. Restaurant patrons are cruel and the money is extremely haphazard. Sometimes it's a great night, other times it's not. And to make matters worse, you are working on an ageist basis. By the time Jesse's 40, he won't make the tips he's making at 30. It's a little known fact as life as a waiter. So while the tipping's good now, he sees what's on the horizon. Well, I disagree with that, because I've known people that actually are professional waiters in very fancy restaurants, and they do just as well in their 40s as they did in their 30s. You know, maybe if they were a good-looking guy who's 30 years old and a bunch of women come in, he might be a little more successful with them flirting with them, but overall, I don't quite go for that. It says there, unfortunately, I realize that Jesse's not going to be following my advice. He's also not going to get much further in life. Why? Well, he, like many other people I know, partake in habits that keep them broke. If you're guilty of any of these, you might end up like Jesse. Number 1, you don't listen to the advice of people who've been in your shoes. That is a big one. I can't name how many people I've met who seem to be caught in the loop. They tell me how bad they are broke, and they will ignore every scrap of advice I offer as someone who was in their shoes. It sounds something like this. Me, how about you try to do Uber Eats? You need to get a roof over your head, right? Them, yeah, but I don't have a car. Me, Postmates lets you do it by bike. Them, yeah, but that takes so much time I'll take away from my business idea. Me, don't you have no roof over your head? Shouldn't you work on that first? Have you tried social services at least? Them, I don't want to call social services, but I'm so broke I need to work on this idea. Me, work on the basics like shelter and food first. Them, no, I want this idea. Bro, it's insane how they don't see how this mindset harms them. Yes, that $1 million idea will work, but only if you cover your bases first. So that little scenario between this, apparently the gal that wrote this was homeless once, so she knows what it's like to get out of a bad situation. A lot of people, there are a lot of people that don't have common sense, or they don't want to take advice from people because they feel like, they're being judged, or like they're feeling stupid if they can't figure that out themselves. Things like that. But also, there are also people in this world that don't have a whole lot of common sense. She's addressing, take care of like getting shelter and food over your head before you embrace this $1 million idea that you think you have. Just stuff like that. But a lot of people don't want to take help from people. It's unbelievable. Everybody gets into trouble in times of their lives, and if people are willing to help you and share their expertise, it doesn't make you weak or a loser to take it. In my opinion, if you have somebody that is good at something and they're offering free help, take it. You know, there's nobody in this world that's had great success and built up great successful companies or had an incredibly successful career in sports or music that didn't have a mentor or mentors that helped them along, or in terms of building a great, huge company, had people they've hired that had areas of expertise that helped them move along. So there's nothing wrong with taking advice, but a lot of people don't. Another one, you refuse to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with having pride, but you have to realize that no man is an island. No one can do everything on their own, and realizing that you have weakness at all or backed into your corner is important. Hubris is a mother effer, and more importantly, it ends up harming your bottom line multiple ways. Broke people often either refuse to get help from people who can, or refuse to ask for advice from people who get the problem. I can't name how many people I've talked to who are facing homelessness who still refuse to ask social services for a shelter. I can't name how many people I know had no idea what they are doing and refused help from an expert. Hint, this is a great way to torpedo your life. Ask for help from people who are willing and able to help you. Stop being prideful. Right. Back before it was getting help from people, but now asking for help. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're in a bad situation and you don't know what to do, ask for help. You'd be amazed how many people want to do that. Whether it's charity or whatever, especially someone that cares about you. Everybody can mess up, and not everybody can be good at everything. It's amazing what you can do, what you can get by simply asking. And I'll admit that I wish I knew that earlier in life, because I had a lot of pride when I was younger. And sometimes, especially my first business I thought I had the mindset that if I didn't figure it out myself or come up with a certain idea or way of doing something, then it didn't really count. And that's nonsense. I wish I learned that. Another one. This is a big one. You buy pricey things to impress people who don't care about you. How many people buy a car they can't afford, a big house they can't afford, a bunch of designer clothes they can't afford, and have nothing to show for it? They're up to their eyeballs in debt to try to impress other people. That's the dumbest thing in the world. People I know, I've known people that have tons of money, and believe me, they don't go around driving Ferraris or fancy foreign sports cars, or they don't go walking around in designer clothes or having, $20,000 Rolexes on the wrist. They look like an average Joe. Then I've known people that drive expensive foreign cars, designer clothes, the jewelry, and they don't have 2 nickels to rub together. In fact, they're in the red because they rack it up in their credit cards trying to show off a lifestyle they don't have. It's ridiculous. It says, this is one thing that I still tend to fall victim to, primarily because I had years of being excluded, to the point that I have active trauma regarding it. I yearn to prove to people that I have status, that I mean something. To a point, I feel like that's just normal human behavior, maybe. Guys, we don't have anything to prove to anyone. The only person you may want to prove anything to is yourself. That's it. And even then, you don't need fancy this, fancy that to show yourself whatever you may need to show yourself, okay? But those that need to go around proving things to other people, that's a serious problem, and that's deep insecurity, which I don't want you guys to have. It says, either way, it's a habit that made me broke a bunch of times, ding, 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 and also remains one of my biggest hurdles. Sadly, it's one of the most pervasive ideas I see in society. We tend to buy so much useless, stupid crap just because it makes us part of the in crowd we want to belong to. Well, I can say my whole life, I've never wanted to belong to any crowd. I want to do what's best for me. I was never about impressing anyone except for doing what I like to do. So I can say I can understand how people fall into that trap, but it's not something I personally have ever been into because it's just not my personality. Real talk, not one of my friends who stuck by me through homelessness, a freak pregnancy, addiction, and corporate life ever gave a rat's ass about what clothes I wore, what car I drove, and what sneakers I sported. The people that really care about you aren't going to care about that. It sucks because we all get these messages saying that luxury items matter. It's part of marketing. I have to remind myself that I'm not here to impress snobs. Neither are you. Snobs are not people you want in your life. No, because they're a-holes. And I don't want to hear about marketing or anything like that. If you chose to buy a bunch of stuff that you don't need to impress other people, that's your fault. I don't want to hear. I can see what the author here is trying to say. And no. Another one. You keep relying on a job for your income. We live in an economy where wages are kept artificially low. We have HR reps who turn away top candidates because of the fact that they shocker, that they have lives outside of work. We have an entire political system and tax system that punishes people who work jobs. And you're telling me you are expecting to climb the corporate ladder to the top? Unless you are really cutthroat, it's not going to happen. If I relied on other companies to make a living writing, I'd be broke and on welfare. I even effing wrote about it. Don't let others tell you what you can and cannot achieve. As long as you're legally allowed to do it and have the expertise, go on your own path and make your own business. Now, I agree with that in one sense, in terms of if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, if you have business sense, if you have ambition and drive and the ability to take risk, then I say go for it. Get that side business going while you have your job that pays the bills and all that. But being realistic, most people, in my opinion, because I've been an entrepreneur my whole freaking life, do not have what it takes, okay? They might, let's just say you had a guy who worked in a garage as a mechanic for 15 years, and he's in his late 30s, and he and a buddy of his decide to buy a garage from a guy who's retiring, okay? He can buy that garage, and that guy can show him the whole business plan, how everything's done. Even if that guy is not a born entrepreneur, he can follow somebody else's plan and be a business owner and do well if he has common sense and skills and all that and discipline with money. But to start from scratch, an idea and all that, that takes definite set of skills that not everybody possesses. And two of the most important things that entrepreneurs must have is A, the ability to take chances and risk and deal with uncertainty, and B, the relentless drive to succeed. That even if things are difficult and you have constant obstacles and things going wrong, you got to have there's other things, but those two things, and most people do not possess those qualities. So it's great if you're going to try to, she's mentioning here, like starting your own business, but a lot of people don't have it. Now, you can do well, have a comfortable life working for someone else, for another company or whatever, but it depends on what you do, and you can rise. It doesn't mean you got to become the CEO or something like that, or an executive vice president, but you can do well. It just depends on what job you do, what is your skill, what career path you follow, okay? But if you do have the business sense and entrepreneurial spirit, I absolutely say go for it, 100%. Okay, another one. You leave opportunities on the table or actively refuse to seek them out. That's another thing that keeps people broke or not going anywhere. They don't have, but that comes down to drive and ambition, which a lot of people have a hard time with. She says, I remember my friend Jordan being in dire straits. He worked at a Salvation Army for minimum wage. He had a drug problem. Who is this chick and who are these people she knows? He was on the verge of homelessness, but he was the sweetest kid you'll ever meet and has ample skills worthy of a king's artisan. Our friend Bethany is a bar owner. She saw him have a meltdown and offered him an amazing opportunity. I'm talking about the opportunity that I would have killed for back when I was in his shoes. She said, come move into my summer home, rent for $50 a month. You can have a job cleaning the bar here and serve drinks here. Get back on your feet and then you can move when you're ready. Sounds like a good deal. He was paying $300 a month in rent. This place was a gorgeous house he would have to himself. Free internet. You know what he did? He said no. He kept himself in a worse position. I don't really understand this. I really don't. Yet it happens a lot more than you'd think. Usually what I see is that the person in question expects this amazing position to fall into their laps. No work on their end required. Either way, leaving a good opportunity or not seeking something out will leave you in deep shit. Absolutely. Now, maybe that guy was prideful and that he didn't want to have something given to him and he wants to succeed on his own. But a lot of people don't get where they are or get out of a situation without help. And there's nothing wrong with that. But right here, and there's also people that think they may not be happy with their situation in life, but they've convinced themselves on some psychological level that they're not worthy of something better, so they self-sabotage. And that's another element there that a lot of people got to become aware of. So if you guys may think you do that, self-sabotage yourself because you think that you don't deserve better or you're not worth anymore, or maybe your family pounded that in your head when you were a kid because they're trash, you got to get past that. And that ain't easy. It could take time, but we can all be our worst enemies at times, guys. Here's another good one. You hang out with people who take advantage of you. That's a big one. And I'll add to that people that hold you back from achieving better because they themselves aren't goal-getters. It says, when you go out, do your friends always press you to pick up the tab? Do you find yourself alone when you're broke, but popular when payday rolls in? Or worse, do you find yourself on the receiving end of verbal abuse when you don't do what other people tell you to do? Believe it or not, hanging out with people who treat you badly is one of the biggest predictors of wealth, at least in my experience. People who use you for your money are not going to be there when chips are down, nor are they going to help you repay that. 100%. On a similar note, it's very hard to stay financially stable when you're being abused. In my case, any money I get from my abusive workplaces went to drugs and alcohol to kill the pain. It's a cycle. Where the hell does she work? Cut people out of your life who are not lifting you up out of your life. Trust me, even if you take an L now, it'll pay dividends in the future. My biggest regret was continuing to work for companies that treat me like crap. Don't be me, the pay never builds. So yeah, don't be around people that are going to take advantage of you, which a lot of people do. And that can go down to the psychological thing, thinking that I'm not worth much. Therefore, I hang out with people that reinforce my views of myself, whether they're accurate or not. And also, I might add, hanging out with people that aren't going anywhere in life. You got to be, guys, if you want to do well in life or get yourself out of a bad situation, you need to hang out with people that are trying to improve themselves and improve their lives. If you're 50 pounds overweight and you know you got to lose weight and become healthy, if all the people you hang out with are overweight themselves and all they do is drink alcohol all the time and eat garbage and don't exercise, it's going to rub off on you. And if you hang out with them and you try to join a gym and eat better and all that stuff like that, and all of a sudden you're not hanging out with them as much, they're going to try to sabotage you. Mark my words, because you actually making an effort to change yourself makes them look like fools because they're not doing it. Or if you are trying to move up in the world and make more money, start a business, they may try to sabotage you as well, saying, oh, that's stupid, you can't do that, or blah, 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 because they themselves are too weak to try to change anything or move up in the company. So you got to be careful. You want to hang out with people that are going places or supporting you when you are. If you're not, you're better on your own. And the last one, and this goes back to the entrepreneurial thing, says you don't look into passive income. It's 2022. If you're working 9 to 5 and you don't get any residual payments, you're effing yourself over. You have to make money while you sleep. How do you get passive income? It's simple. Invest or make products that can keep getting sold. There are so many ways to make this happen. Choose one, choose more than one. In content creation, your content keeps earning money long after you make it. That's passive income. In real estate, getting a house to rent out will earn you money. In the stock market, you get money by getting dividends and selling high. Get what I mean? The more you invest in stuff that makes you money, the happier you'll be later in life, and that's something you can bank on. And I agree with that 100%, but it goes back to the passive income means, in a sense, on the one element of starting a side business. Most people are not entrepreneurs. So this writer here, although I agree with her what she's saying in terms of if you do have the entrepreneur spirit and you have a business mind for these things, absolutely go for a way to make passive income on something. You know, what I do here on YouTube, guys, I got about 800 plus videos here on this channel, and on my other channel over 100. And people are watching these videos all the time, around the clock, around the world. So I'm making money when I sleep. It's a business, okay? I love what I do, but it's a business because those commercials pop up and I get paid by Google for the commercials. That's passive income, which was a side business at first for the fun of it, was turned into a full-fledged huge business for me, okay? But not everybody has the talent, drive, ambition, and goals to do something either like that or other things. But if you do, I highly recommend going for it. As for the part about investing, for instance, in buying stocks that have dividends, yeah, you get paid every quarter dividends if they are a dividend payer, or those stocks appreciate in value, or you invest in different funds, or if you own your own home and you bought another home that is rentable, you bought it at a good price, maybe when it was a buyer's market, and you can rent that thing out and get money coming in. Again, passive income. So I'm all for that, so long as you have the brains, the ability to handle risk and uncertainty, and of course the drive and ambition to make these things a reality. So, but anyhow, guys, that'd be a good one there. There's obviously plenty of other things that things can do that people do to keep themselves broke, but this covers a lot of things. So for you guys are, again, trying to improve yourselves, maybe you're in a bad situation, you got there yourself, or something happened that was unpredictable, you can get out of it. There's things you can do, but you got to be willing to ask for help. Seek help from those that know what they're doing or are offering it. Distance yourself from people that are going to hold you back, amongst many other things. Look for a better opportunity, a better job, whatever. You can do it. But a lot of people, sadly, self-sabotage. I don't want that to be you guys. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if some other things that if you have experience in this that could be added to this, because people will read the comments. Definitely does help each other out. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.